Good morning. Following Russia's sabotage of the Black Sea grain deal last week, the price of grain has risen by 8%, which will impact developing countries the most. Not content with that, Russia has now ramped up its attacks on grain stores in Odessa, across Ukraine, including right across the border from Romania, a NATO country. These include strikes using an unusually large number of AS-4 kitchen missiles, and these are 5.5-ton weapons which are actually designed to destroy aircraft carriers. And I think the absurdity of using such heavy-duty weaponry to destroy food shows that weaponizing global food supplies is a calculated part of Russia's strategy. And it demonstrates that, for all its rhetoric, Russia doesn't care one bit about people across Africa, Asia, and Latin America facing famine and drought. Russia has also announced that all ships proceeding to Ukrainian ports will be considered as potential carriers of military cargo. And now our information indicates that the Russian military may expand their targeting of Ukrainian grain facilities further to include attacks against civilian shipping in the Black Sea. This morning, Prime Minister Sunak spoke to President Zelensky to share this information with him. Prime Minister Sunak also told President Zelensky that he is appalled by the devastation caused by recent Russian attacks on Odessa, and that the UK is working closely with Turkey and the UN to restore the Black Sea grain deal. Our information also indicates that Russia has laid additional sea mines in the approaches to Ukrainian ports, and we agree with the US assessment that this is a coordinated effort to justify and lay blame on Ukraine for any attacks on civilian ships in the Black Sea. So tomorrow, at the request of Ukraine, the Security Council will once again meet on Russia's escalatory attacks on Odessa and attempts to weaponize global food supplies. As we've said, President Putin has the power to end this war tomorrow, but he has shown no sign that he is willing to do so. In fact, he seems dead set on causing as much suffering around the world as he can. We once again call on Russia to stop holding global food supplies to ransom and to rejoin the Black Sea grain deal. And I know that the UN, Ukraine, and Turkey stand ready to do that. Thank you.
Ambassador. First, Russia has had a very good harvest this year, so the rise in grain prices just means President Putin's actually going to get more income, does it not? And secondly, African leaders are heading, or some of them, to St. Petersburg. What's your message to those countries that are going to see President Putin?
You're right about the way in which grain prices is another way that Putin is managing to do well out of this appalling war, and his discounted oil sales to China and to India are another part of that. I think the Russia-Africa summit this week is a very important one. It would be wonderful if African leaders were really strong in their messaging to President Putin. I think they've been more than provoked. You'll remember that last week the Russians were clear that they would consider it an act of war if South Africa arrested Putin when he was there for the BRICS summit. But more importantly, I think it's worth looking at the history here. You know, at the last Russia-Africa summit, the Russians promised $40 million worth of extra trade deals. What materialized? About 14. You know, Russia's investment is about 1% of Africa's GDP. Russia is not driving Africa's growth. Russia is driving Africa into poverty. Thank you.